Welcome back to another Crusty Cravings video. I'm Hannah and my son will not let me talk. Today I'm vlogging my prep for my beginner sourdough workshop. This is my first ever workshop and so I'm super excited. I'm thankful for all of the support that I had from friends who have gone before me and done workshops for hundreds of people. And even though my class is super small, it's only 6 people tonight, I'm still a little nervous. It's a lot to prepare for. It's a lot of timing things just right to make sure that you can fit everything into a 3-hour window because this workshop is designed to be very, very hands-on. I started off by mixing 2 loaves last night that bulk fermented overnight. One is going to be scored and baked in class just as a demonstration for what everybody needs to do the next day with the 2 loaves that they take home. And one was actually baked this morning that I'm taking to class for part of our charcuterie board. This is the cinnamon chip loaf that I made that we're going to enjoy in class on the charcuterie board. It's one of my best sellers, and the bakery that I'm hosting these workshops at, they don't have any sweet loaves. They mainly just do rye breads, and they have whole wheat breads and things like that. So it's going to be something that's a little unique and different, which I'm excited about. My prep started last night when I prepped all these kits for people who are going to buy mine instead of bringing their own supplies. My kits are pretty extensive. They include pretty much anything that you could need to get started on your sourdough journey. I have a starter kit, 2 banneton baskets that are like legit banneton baskets with liners, and I have a thermometer, a food scale, a silicone scraper for starters. I have a plastic bowl scraper, a bench scraper, a bread lom with replacement blades, sticker that I put in there, some food covers, so basically shower caps for covering their bowls, and I think that's it. But pretty much anything they need to get started on their journey, I included that in my kit so that they could just conveniently buy it from me if they don't have these things. This morning I mixed 2 batches of starter. One is going to be used in class to mix all of their loaves, all the participants' loaves. This is enough for 2 loaves for each person. I don't think we'll need that much, but I have extra in here for everybody to feed their own starter that they will take home with them. My second batch of starter is actually going to be used to prep 6 loaves for this afternoon. I'm going to prep that a couple hours before class. It will be bulk fermenting, stretch and folds will be done, and about an hour and a half into the class, it's going to be ready to be dumped out and shaped into individual loaves so that my participants can practice shaping. It is 2:30 and I'm mixing all of my dough for my 5 p.m. class. This should be fully fermented and ready to shape at around 5:30 to 6. And so I'm getting it ready before class so that I can do all the stretch and folds and have it just fermenting while we're doing our initial baking of a loaf. And then after that, we're gonna dump it out and shape this for practice. I'm so nervous. My first class. I have everything. I don't think I forgot anything. I have the bulk starter, the bulk dough that's fermenting. I have pans to show them how to bake. I have all my tools and things to mix my dough. Kits for people. I have water for them to mix with. Whew. I think we're good.
Gucci. Good luck.
All right.
Make a little money.
I will. I'm on my way to my first ever sourdough workshop and I'm freaking nervous. Even though I only have 6 people tonight since it's a weeknight right after work, I'm still nervous. I think it's gonna be fine, but I have my starter in my lap. Can't risk dropping that. And then I have a loaf that I'm going to score at the very beginning of class that just got out of the fridge here with me too. Timing everything for a workshop definitely takes a lot of strategy and organization, especially when I live in Florida where it is hot and humid. Things don't happen slow. They're not very forgiving. I have to plan everything to a T to make sure things don't over ferment or my starter's not too acidic, etc., etc. And I think I timed it just right, but I think the biggest fear of any instructor is that things don't go smoothly and there's bigger gaps than you initially thought, or that things take longer to explain and we only have 3 hours. So I'm definitely very nervous just to stay on schedule, but I think it's going to end up being a great time for my first workshop, just to have a smaller group. First class went really, really well. I, of course, didn't get any video. I had every intention to take some video of my first ever workshop, and of course, didn't bring my tripod, didn't set up to record, didn't really record anything beforehand even. The owner, Marcel, did get a few clips from the class, but I have every intention this time of actually taking some video, and it is a bigger workshop, so I have 9 participants. It is a lot of coordination, it's a lot of timing. I am doing it from memory now because I feel like I have my process down, but it definitely was challenging. I think just having people at different levels, people who had done sourdough baking before, had tried and failed, people who knew a little bit about how to bake bread, and then people who've never made bread in their entire lives. And so just to meet them at their level and teach them in that way to make it understandable was kind of hard. There were a lot of different levels of questions throughout, but I did like how intimate it was being 6 people and all of the different questions that they had. It was very interactive. I felt like everybody had fun. They really struggled with concepts like bulk fermentation and that the temperature speeds up the process and that colder dough ferments a lot slower, etc., etc. And that is understandable because when I was a beginner, I struggled with that too. So my hope is that they take their starters home, they learn how to do it, they practice, and they get better and better. But not all of the loaves turned out beautiful that we shaped in class. Not all of the loaves that we bulk fermented in class turned out good. So I think that's just to be expected. I sent them home with a guide at the end. I sent a follow-up email. I sent a follow-up email with the loaves that I baked from class. Kind of showed them what they should look like, what they should look like on the inside, things like that. I think the support after class is probably going to be the most helpful for participants, and I'm not sure how to set that up to where it's the best use of my time. I know people have created WhatsApp groups. Some people put people in an email chain like I did. Some people create an Instagram group or a text message or give their phone number, and I just don't really know which one is going to be the best for me because I'm already so busy. But I think a lot of people took the class with a buddy or a friend, so I hope they lean on each other for support during that time. I'm super excited for the second workshop. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to try to be a little bit less anxious and nervous and rigid and just have these people enjoy the experience, eat a lot of good food, enjoy like snacking on everything, talking to each other, getting to know each other. And yeah, 3 hours was definitely plenty of time, but we needed the full time. And if you have people who are late to the class, that's another issue where I had people late because of traffic. And because somebody was 30 minutes late, it was really difficult to get everything in those 3 hours. And then I was answering questions again because that individual missed the first portion of the class, which was kind of important. So yeah, you can't really control that. That's just something that happens. I did like the idea of selling a kit, and a lot of people liked that idea too because they did not want to hunt for a kit, so they just paid me $75 for everything that they need, and it comes with a food scale and a thermometer as well. Of course, the guide that I sent home with them, things like that. And some people brought their own kit and they didn't have everything they needed, so it was good for me to just bring extras of everything in case somebody was missing something. I don't think there's a lot that I would change. I don't have anything written down. I don't have a presentation. I literally just am doing this from memory. And I think that's the best way because you cater it to the needs of the people in the class versus being like rigid and regimented and just reading from a script. I think it's way better to interact and answer questions in real time and explain things in the way that a beginner would understand. Show them things, let them feel things, understand the look and feel of the starter, the dough, throughout every process, scoring, baking, letting them actually see it is the best way to learn. So these workshops are awesome. I'm going to continue doing them probably once a month or maybe twice a month and get about 10 people in a group. I'll probably start doing some private classes, start doing some focaccia baking classes, like a little wine, cheese board, bread night type thing for ladies who want to do it out of private residence. Yeah, it's gonna be really good. Every time I hear the trash truck today, I think it's my ovens getting delivered and I'm so anxious. My husband said it's like our 5-year-old waking up on Christmas morning, waiting to open his toys, just being so anxious and excited. I can't believe it's coming today. Guess what point am I cleaning? Both my bread ovens and my stand. Christmas morning all over again. I'm so excited. My Pico Plus.
Yeah, I feel like we reached a certain level of emotional.
We just got our first bid for electrical work, and since I need two 240 outlets and he has to run it from the garage to our breakfast nook, he doesn't actually have to he doesn't have to expand the panel. He doesn't have to expand the panel. There's 3 spots open on the panel, but he has to put in a special little breaker extension for the 4th one, and that's gonna take maybe a couple extra dollars, he said. So it's really just gonna be $590 per outlet, so we're looking at about $1,200 for the electrical work for this, but that makes me feel a lot better compared to what some people pay. Which could be up to like $2,500 for one, which is insane. A couple of quick updates. My beginner sourdough workshops went really well this week. I had a total of 17 students between the Thursday and the Saturday workshop. And I did have a mix of students, so I had some that had never made sourdough before and never made bread before. I had students that had made it and failed. I had some that want to sell it and they're just trying to perfect their craft before they do so. I had some that wanted to start teaching workshops, and so they were just coming to observe and learn from me teaching to see how to structure it. I thought that capping it at 10 is perfect, because that gives me enough time to give enough attention to each person in the workshop, answer those more advanced questions, meet somebody where they're at if they truly are beginner with no former knowledge. Everybody had really great feedback on the workshop. They said they learned a lot and they felt really confident leaving the class that they could make their own sourdough, which is all great. That's what you want to hear as an instructor. And everybody had a lot of fun. They said that it was just a really good experience to have all of the hands-on practice with each step in the process. and their loaves started to bake up beautiful the next day. So that really made me happy. Second update, I had 2 electricians come and give me bids for my 2 240 outlets that I need for my Pico Plus ovens. The first bid was around $1,200. He has enough room on the panel box to put in 2 designated circuits, if you will. The 2 240 outlets, they each take 2 spots on your panel box. So if you don't have enough room, unfortunately, you would have to expand your panel. And we barely have enough room to put those 2 units in. If we were to add anything else in the future, have to get another outlet, we would have to redo our panel box, and that would cost us around $3,600. And we're just not at that point where we want to invest in that right this minute. So we're just going to do, the bare minimum of putting the 2 outlets in and see what's to come. Because he has to run the wire from the garage to our breakfast nook, he has to get in a really hard to reach spot and is going to have to cut drywall. So we have to fix the drywall after, and he has to fish it, down the wall in between a really narrow space. So I think that adds on to the price. The second bid was $1,600 for something very similar, but they were saying they would have to move around all of the wiring in the panel box, and that it was going to be hard to wire from the garage to the breakfast nook. But they were doing it in more of like a jimmy rigging way, and that didn't give me a lot of confidence. So I'm going with somebody who is well known, trusted, and has been in business for 40 years in our area, and it's $1,200. So it's not as pricey as I thought it might be. A lot of people were telling me it would be between $2,500 to $3,000 based off of where it was in my house, and that is what they paid for their electrical work. And I had other friends who were telling me they only paid $500 for their outlet, but they only needed 1. So just know that that is a factor when installing a bread oven. It just needs the same outlet as your home oven or your dryer. And if you don't have a designated spot already, or if it's not close to the panel box already, it's going to be pricier. But I am excited. That's going to get done this week, and I should have my bread ovens installed by Saturday. And then next week, I should start experimenting with the bread ovens and make more content on how to use it and the settings and all of that. So I definitely am going to share more about that journey. I have markets coming up, so this is going to be perfect timing to get my bread ovens installed, experiment with it, and then be able to bake in bulk faster for my markets and bread drops. But it's been a good experience so far being self-employed. Of course, it's a lot of stress and budgeting, figuring out how we're going to afford the lifestyle that we once had and how to cut expenses to make sure that we are living sustainably with our new income. But I am excited about these workshops continuing. I think they're going to grow in popularity. I already had a bunch of students say they would like to have another class, like a follow-up class, potentially a 201 class or more advanced class. And that would be super exciting, or even a focaccia baking class or a bagel making class, like something really specific. But yeah, it's been really good. I painted my breakfast nook. I got it all finalized. I just need a prep table, my bread oven installed, and then I'm off to the races in my little designated bakery space, which I'm so excited about. And then in the future, I may have to buy a commercial mixer. But for now, my Bosch mixer is doing the trick with 50 to 70 loaves. And if I scale up to 100, maybe I do want a commercial mixer. But thank you for being here. Thank you for watching my content, engaging with it, liking, subscribing, asking me questions. Anything helps, and I'm just so appreciative of everybody being here and genuinely being curious in my journey. But until next time, I'm gonna have lots more content on my bread oven and my journey with the Pico Plus, so stay tuned.